This is the Less Insurance Dependence podcast show with my good friend Gary Takas and myself, Naren Raja.
We appreciate your listenership, your time, and most of all, we appreciate your intention to reduce insurance dependence in your practice. Our goal is to provide information that will help you successfully reduce insurance dependence and convert your practice into a thriving and profitable dental practice that provides you with personal, professional, and financial satisfaction.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Less Insurance Dependence podcast, the official podcast of the Reducing Insurance Dependence Academy, www.rid.academy. Membership to the Academy is a gift from Gary and I in appreciation for your listenership. Visit rid.academy and don't forget to register. By registering, you will have access to all of our resources and a free pass to all of our events, including our annual summit. I am Naren, your co-host. Today's podcast is titled Improving Your Practice Without Completely Committing to Fee-for-Service. Good point, right? So you can improve your practice and not completely commit to fee-for-service. So that's what we're going to focus on today. But before we get into our topic today, I have a quick announcement to make. We have our Thriving Dentist live workshop coming up, thrivingdentist.com/Austin on the 1st of February, which happens to be a Saturday from 9 to 5 p.m., 8 hours of CE. And the topic is grow your practice to full potential and achieve an effective work-life balance. This can be your blueprint to kickstart 2025. It's happening on the 1st of Feb, so great timing. If you haven't already signed up, I think you really should sign up. The best value for money. The last one we did several years ago was a big hit. Of course, we didn't do it for a few years because of COVID. Now we are bringing it back. Gary, any comments?
Yeah, I'm super excited about this live workshop coming up February 1st in Austin. The last one we did was at the end of February 2020 in Atlanta. We were at the Porsche Experience Center in Atlanta, amazing venue and an amazing course. And then COVID hit. And our plans for the rest of the live workshops in 2020 went out the window because of travel restrictions. So we're bringing it back. We're bringing back the live workshop. Of course, we've done many live workshop or virtual workshops since then. And we've done master classes and all kinds of things. Some of you have participated in those. But I'm hearkening to get back to the live format. And we've had many requests to come back live. So sure enough, February 1st it is. So if you think that the idea of developing a world-class practice and achieving work-life balance are mutually exclusive, I'd like to politely say, reconsider your thinking, because you can, in fact, have both of those. Now, I know many dentists that genuinely feel like I can have one or the other, but I can't have both. Does that make sense, Derek? Can you see how dentists might think that?
Yes, it does make sense, Gary. Yes.
Yeah, I want a world-class practice, but I also want work-life balance. I can't have them both. Which one should I choose? Well, come to Austin and discover why you don't have to choose. You can actually get both of those. Think of it drinking from a fire hose. I like that imagery, Naren. When I was a kid growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, and we had hot summer days, the fire department would come around and they would open the taps on the fire hydrants. And it would provide some relief from the heat with the water coming out. But you dare not drink from it, Naren, because the power of that fire hydrant was so strong it'd knock you over. So think of this drinking from a firehouse, but all things developing a world-class practice and at the same time achieving work-life balance. If you don't think that's possible, it's worth your tuition to come out to Austin and learn that it is. Go to thrivingdentist.com/Austin. And we have to register. We also have some early bird tuition specials. If you register now, tuition will never be less expensive than it is now. You'll get 8 hours of CE. You'll meet colleagues that are on the same journey as you from around the country. And you will be armed with information you can't wait to get back home to apply. Come join us.
Thank you, Gary. Yeah, absolutely. I totally second what Gary said. It's going to be an amazing event, so definitely don't miss out on this.
Maybe the most important CE that you take in 2025.
Yeah, I agree. The topic today is improving your practice without completely committing to fee-for-service. And this is something that we noticed, both Gary and I, during the RIDA Summit. There are many, many, many practices. Literally, we have more than 1,500 practices who are part of our community today who have dropped one or more PPO plans. And we surveyed many of them and they asked them, are you planning to go fee for service all the way? And a majority of those who have dropped one or more PPO plans said, no, we are not thinking of going to fee for service all the way. So that seems to be a new trend of, improving your bottom line, improving your profitability by dropping PPO plans, but not necessarily going all the way to fee for service. So that's what we're going to examine today. And we're going to talk about specific cases, specific situations where, doctors have done that and why they are choosing to do that as opposed to just going all the way to fee for service.
Yeah, I want to emphasize that you do not, repeat, not need to go all the way to fee for service to improve your practice. Every time you successfully resign from a PPO plan, you have improved your practice because we're eliminating those write-offs on that plan. When I do my coaching strategy meetings with doctors, the most common issue that they have in the practice is their PPO participation. That's the number one reason why doctors set up a CSM with me. Gary, my practice is overrun with PPO plans. What should I do? And as we talk about it, they usually say, I've been listening to your podcasts, and I think with your help, I can successfully resign from most of these PPO plans. But the one that worries me most is, Naren, plug in the blank. The one that worries me most is fill in the blank.
Yes.
Which one?
I would say Delta.
Delta, by far and away.
Yeah.
The one that worries me most is Delta.
Right.
And that's simply because they are the 500-pound bully on the block. They're
Right.
the largest. They do bully you, and their practices should be regulated much more seriously, but they are not. It shows the power of Delta's lobby, why they're not regulated more. But most doctors tell me, Gary, I think I could resign from all the other ones with your help, but I'm concerned about Delta. And my answer is, hey, here's the good news. You don't have to decide now. Here's my suggestion. Let's start picking off some of these other plans. Let's evaluate analytically exactly how we're doing. And when I say evaluate analytically, what I mean is what percentage of our patients are we losing when you go out of network? If you haven't started the process, all you have is guesswork, right? And most dentists think they're going to lose all their patients, and that never happens. And so let's just start picking them off. And then when we go through that journey, we can decide along the way where you want to stop. Every time you've done that, if an office, for example, Naren, let's say an office that has historically collected $1 million, and I'm just using a round number to make my math easy, we know that if that office is typical in terms of their percentage of PPO patients, that office has to produce $1.5 million to collect $1 million. But now imagine they drop a plan that had say $100,000 of revenue coming from the plan, and now they collect the full 100 on the patients that they have left, compared to the average adjustment today is 45% instead of 55%. Have they improved their practice?
Absolutely. I mean, think about it, right? So you are now collecting full 100,000 versus 55,000
Well,
after you give
let's say they lose
PPO
10%
plan.
of the patients. How much are they collecting?
90,000.
They collect 90,000
Yeah.
instead of the
55,000.
55,000. So the difference goes where? The difference
Goes to the bottom line. So that
the
extra
difference is 35,000.
Yeah.
And it goes where?
Goes to your bottom line. It goes to your profits. Because your expenses stay the same. Actually, you do less dentistry because you lost 10% of the patients. So you don't have to increase your expenses. Actually, it stays the same. But now you're collecting $35,000 more for doing less dentistry.
Yeah, and that goes right to your bottom line. And that was just a small plan, in the landscape of all the plans that you might be involved in.
Right.
What usually happens is, and this has happened time and time again, the doctor said, I'm nervous about Delta. We've successfully resigned from all the other plans. And all of a sudden the doctor says, you know what, Gary, I'm nervous about Delta. But when I look at the total number of patients I had in all these other plans, that number is actually larger than the number that I have in Delta. When you look at Delta by itself, it seems enormous. But when you look at it in the context of compared to the other plans, and he said, what they usually say is, Gary, I think if we follow the same approach we've done with these other plans and we get the same result, that we lose around 10% of our patients, I think we can resign from Delta. And so what decision have they just made? Let's do it. But you don't have to. That's the point. You don't have to do it. You could say the improvement that I made in resigning from all these other plans, I'm going to stick right here for a little bit. Now, I do have a great example to share in a case study with our listeners because I think it amplifies this whole concept. And the reason I love to use the example, this doctor, we have 2 years to compare side by side, 2022 and 2023, side by side. Strong solo dentist practice, very strong solo dentist practice, and a nice, strong hygiene department. This office was completely in network for all of the calendar year in 2022. He was in network with about 14 PPO plans, including Delta. So file that in the way back of your mind. 2022 represents completely in network. We timed everything so that by December 31st, he was out of network, meaning January 1st, 2023 represents a new year, new start, completely out of network. Let me give you the data of the 2 years. In 2022, the year he was in network, this office produced $1.9 million and collected 1.4. Naren, 1.9 collected 1.4. What's the $500,000 difference?
That's the write-off, right? The gap between, what you should have received had the insurance company paid you your full fees versus what they actually ended up paying you after the write-offs.
Right. So that's not a collections problem. That's an adjustment problem. That
Yes.
500,000. Now let's go to 2023. Same doctor, same team, same hours, same everything. Produced 1.8. Notice production went down from 1.9 to 1.8, but collected 1.7. How much of a raise did he get?
So now they're making 200,000 more, right?
300.
300,000 more.
1.7.
Right, 1.4 to 1.7. They're making
1.47, $300,000 more. And some of you might be asking, well, wait a minute, what's the $100,000 worth of adjustments? Right. Where do you think the $100,000 worth of adjustments now there were there?
Perhaps it's a membership plan. Perhaps, they're like,
hit it
for
right
example,
there.
if they do high value services, now you can say, hey guys, I'll give you 10% off when you do a
membership
$5,000. Yeah.
Case. All of that $100,000 adjustment was a function of the in-office membership plan. But look at the bottom line. His overhead went down because now he's producing 1.8 instead of 1.9. So he's got $100,000 worth of revenue, of which the overhead's associated. And if your overhead is 60%, well, how much did we save on that $100,000 overhead going down? Your overhead went down in that top. You saved 60 grand on that. Plus you collected an extra 300,000. It's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
It is. It is.
And I love using that example because rarely do I have the purity of comparing 2 years side by side like that. Where it's just there, usually, we resign mid-year and we don't have the purity of a whole year's worth of example. How do you think he felt now, producing 1.8, collecting 1.7, as opposed to producing 1.9, collecting 1.4? How do you think he felt?
I've actually seen this type of an example happen in real life, Gary, with some of our mutual clients, where literally I've seen them, make $300,000, $400,000 more 1 year after starting with us, starting with you as their coach, and they're ecstatic, right? Because they're doing less dentistry, but now they have $300,000 extra in their bottom line, which they can invest in technology, which they can pay their people better, which they can use to, retire early. It creates options for you, right? Changes your life.
And this doctor, I won't disclose a name out of confidentiality, but this doctor is mid-career. He's loving dentistry, and he said, Gary, I can see this doing this for the next 20 years. Now let's extrapolate those numbers. What does the difference mean over a 20-year period? How much more does he make over 20 years?
300,000 times 20 is the extra $6 million in profits.
$6 million.
Yeah.
$6 million
Without doing more dentistry. Actually, he's doing less dentistry and making an extra 6
Well, and
million.
that would assume that he stayed the same. This is a growth-minded dentist. We expect
Exactly.
we want to grow 10% every year. But
Yeah.
let's assume it just stayed static to make our math easy.
Yeah.
Then an extra $6 million. That goes a long way to solving what I believe is one of the biggest crises in dentistry. The ADA, our dental association, reports that only 3% of dentists age 65 or older can retire without reducing their lifestyle. Only 3% can retire without reducing their lifestyle. That is extra $6 million plus the interest or the investment income you'd earn from that over time will gladly fill in that gap. So now you can retire with the dignity that you deserve instead of handing it to the fat cats of the insurance company for another 20 years. So you can absolutely improve your practice without completely committing to fee for service. The truth is, resigning from PPO plans is not appropriate for all practices. 5 times in my career, Naren, 5, I have met with a doctor and said, this is not the right thing for you. At least not now. Doesn't mean you can't do it forever, but not now. And the common denominator, what do you think the common denominator was among those 5 practices? They're all over the country, different practice climates, different environments. What do you think the common denominator was?
The common denominator was, I bet, reducing or dropping PPO plans, right?
But why did they feel? Why did I tell them they can't?
They can or cannot? You mean they can?
I said, no, you can't do this. Not now.
I think, I've worked with you for quite a few years. So my gut feeling is the only reason people are going to their practice is because they're on a PPO plan. In other words, if I were to go and look at their Google reviews, I won't be seeing, 4.5.
It's actually, that's part of it, but it's bigger than that. The real bottom line, they did not give people a reason to choose their practice.
Right.
As compared to, the bad corporate office down the street.
Right.
They did not give any there was no technology. There wasn't an amazing team. There were no reviews.
There was no relationships. There was no,
couldn't keep team members. And why would a patient choose that office instead of they could just go down the street and get the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
They're given no reason for that.
Right.
And that was the bottom line. And I don't believe that fits the definition of any of our listeners. But if you'd like to find out if your office is in a position to be able to do this, schedule a coaching strategy meeting with me. Go to thrivingdentist.com/CSM. That opens up my Zoom schedule on Zoom. We'll do a meeting, and I'd like to learn about your practice, and I can share a perspective about arming you with information that you can start to make informed decisions. But you can improve your practice without completely committing to fee for service. What's interesting is most doctors will make the decision to go all the way because of the success that they have in the journey. And they realize, why in the world should I keep Delta when they're just such a difficult situation to make work in my practice? If it's going to cost me money to see patients under Delta, why should I do that? But you don't have to go. You don't have to go all the way. Well, this has been a fun episode. Thanks. Let's wrap it up here. Bring it back full circle. Come join us in Austin on February 1st, 2025. Thriving Dentist Live Workshop, 8 hours of CE, drinking from a fire hose about everything about a thriving practice and achieving an effective work-life balance at the same time. thrivingdentist.com/Austin. Thank you for the privilege of your time. Naren and I look forward to connecting with you on the next Less Insurance Dependence podcast.